Here is my Pinball Hall of Fame arcade controller. This arcade stick was made specifically just for this game. I've been playing this game a lot and I really enjoy it, but the default controls is with one of these. So I wanted to have an authentic experience with the pinball machines because it's really hard to find pinball machines. So this pinball controller has a couple of things on it that make it feel like a real pinball machine. You'll notice on the left and right hand side I have the plunger buttons, and you probably cannot see it in the video, but I am clicking on this and that is activating, and so does this one. If I were to line up the camera. Okay, so the way that this button assignment works is this plunger has been hacked to work with the right analog stick. So normally in the game you would pull this back to work the plunger, and then you would let go and it would spring forth, and it's actually pressure sensitive. So hacking this mechanical plunger was probably the hardest part. As you can see here, the X, Y, and B buttons are mapped to here. Oops. Accidentally hit the trigger. I have a start button here. I have a analog button here, and the directional joystick here, and my select, guide, and start is up here. So now the plunger, I'm going to try to see it, show it working. You can see in the TV screen that if I pull this back, that the plunger on the screen is also pulling back. If I let go, you can see that this is able to work. It's very difficult though to play this at the same time while holding a camera. Alright, so I guess this is showing that the actual arcade stick works. Let's actually take a look on what's on the inside. So I'm going to put the camera down while I open up the top panel. Oh, one other thing is, before I open it up, is that this analog button actually controls tilt. So in the game, if I were to push this, this nudges the table around, and I actually hacked this analog button to the game. So I'm actually going to intentionally tilt the table, doing that before I open it up. So you can see here I am pushing this and I actually managed to tilt it. Alright, so to open this stick up, I'm going to hit pause because sometimes the plunger tends to go off if the box is moved. Okay, so onto the wiring. I used a Sony PlayStation Portable analog stick, and I actually hacked it to the PCB right there. So I have the wiper, which is the middle prong, going off. There's the brown wire, I don't know if you can see it. And then there's three other wires on the right hand side. The high voltage, which is the orange line right there, and the low, which is actually ground. So I hacked that, and I did something similar to the right stick, which is right there, going to my plunger setup. So pretty much hacking all the other buttons was pretty standard fare for your normal joystick hacking. But to get this plunger to work, I really wanted to get an authentic feel. So right here I have I'm going to pull this spring out of here really quickly. But I actually have a spring assembly. I have a hook catch right there, or a hook, I'm not sure what they call these in the hardware store, I forgot. But I have a spring, and on this, I actually made this metal plate out of some 12 gauge scrap steel I had, and I actually added this washer I got from the hardware store and put it on here. So you can see here that this is a slide potentiometer. It's called a linear. I'm not sure if it's called a linear. But basically it's a sliding pot that you would find on perhaps DJ or mixer equipment. I believe it's from 10K or whatever, but pretty much the mechanism, when I pull the plunger back, it pulls back on this lever, and the way that I have this set up, this almost hits the top surface of this. On the underside of the panel, you can see that I routed out an area. And what happens, it's kind of getting dark, but you can see how that lines up, that routed area. And the shape of this plate actually keeps this from falling out of alignment. So the part of the lever actually touches up against this plate, and to set that back I pretty much need to do this, and I need to use two hands for this. I need to put the camera down for a second and move the spring out the way. But so far, yeah, it seems like it's a pretty reliable mechanism. I had to fashion a piece of acrylic and some mounting arcade board mounting brackets. So it's actually working pretty well. It's set to halfway, one for a mechanical reason, but also the computer, I think upon plugging in the controller, it actually looks to where the current controller is and sets that to neutral. So that's why only half of the slide pot is being used. But bam, there we go. So that's how that is set up. Now the analog stick on the PSP, I actually had to drill a 3 3/4 hole here, and then there's another hole in there, and there was 2 screws that I just made a second hole that's probably about 1/8 inch deep, and just drilled it into there. And there was actually 2 mounting holes that I screwed it down, and the panel is actually keeping it down quite nicely. So that is how I made this, and I have the cord going out through the bottom, and most of my cords, you should tie a knot on the exit of the box, so it doesn't, in case there's like some cable tension. I'm actually going to pull the cable here. That knot keeps it from getting pulled out the case and pulling on the PCB. Alright, so there is the pinball controller for Pinball Hall of Fame Williams collection. So I'm going to go play some pinball. Alright, check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.